Well, the music's sounding good inside the bar, but we're outside the bar at the moment, and as promised, I have a little bit of a guest on today's video, and it's Alan. Hello, Alan.
Yeah, hello. How are you?
I only met you yesterday.
Yes, you did.
And so I've only got to know you. So just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I did see you 2 years ago in the other bar. I have a photograph of it.
Okay.
I was walking past and I recognised you sitting outside your other bar.
It's difficult to remember 2 hours ago, to be honest. 2 years, but so you introduced yourself to me and you told me a little bit about yourself then. So could you repeat that?
Okay, I was just talking about how I got involved with Thailand. So, essentially, when I was about 18 years of age, I was working in England in a bakery. And another friend was friends with another employee at the bakery, and we got to know each other. And then in 1970, so going back quite a while.
Wow.
I'm actually 73 years old at the moment. And
I tell you what, you're looking good. You're looking good,
you
man.
Tell me you're 58. Is it?
I am 58.
Yeah. I know that. See, my research is good. And I saw that on one of your YouTube clips.
Okay.
And
he knows everything about me, this guy. Scary.
And that's why I recognised it too. I knew where to find it. But we went. We had no money at that time, 1970s, just working the peanuts really. And this friend of mine, we decided to hitchhike around Europe and have a sort of a cheap holiday. And it was so incredibly successful. We only had about 2 weeks, but we travelled through a lot of countries, through Holland and France and Belgium, and really spent very little at all. And we were so successful. This mate of mine, Dave, he said, why don't we throw our jobs in one day and try to hitchhike down to Australia? Well, it seemed like a pipe dream at the time, but I said, I'm in it. So we spent the next year saving up as much money as we could. And then in July 1971, we did it.
Let me interrupt you there. So in 71, we're 25 years before the internet.
Yeah.
How do you actually plan something like that?
It was
other than getting a map of the world out.
That's all we had, a map of the world.
Right.
Communication was post restante, where you wrote a letter, sent it to the post office ahead of your planned travel trip, and then when you got there, it should be there in the post office. If you didn't bother replying, it was a letter of support from your family or whatever. But it was a system that worked. But also, it was the hippie trail from England through to Kathmandu and Nepal.
Right.
There was cafes like the cooking shop in Istanbul where people met and swapped information about where to stay and what not to do. And
so just briefly, naming like big cities, what was the route or routes that you took? Obviously started in London, or?
Yes, we took it. We had a bit of money. We took it a train from on a boat, which was included in one package, from London to Paris. And this is unusual. We had no money for accommodation. I had £300 at the time, so you can translate that what might be worth today, but very, very little money really. And our accommodation was sleeping on the street in a sleeping bag.
Wow.
First night in Paris, we managed to go to the Eiffel Arc de Triomphe with the Champs-Élysées, and the guards weren't looking and the door was unlocked, so we went inside the tomb and we spent the first night sleeping there. That's got to be a world record, right?
Inside the Arc de Triomphe?
Inside the Arc de Triomphe, yeah.
Wow.
In the basement.
Wow.
And we got woken up about 5 a.m. by the guards waking us up. It's possible the guards had discovered us earlier, just let us sleep.
Yeah.
At 5 a.m. we got kicked out.
So from Paris to...
we worked our way through Europe, went through... we had a... I can't remember the exact route, but we worked our way down through to Greece.
Okay.
And from the bottom of Greece, managed to get a boat through to Istanbul.
Okay, I was going to say, most people...
Yeah.
Istanbul is the gateway to Southeast Asia or to Africa or whatever.
Once you cross the Bosphorus in Istanbul, you're in Asia. And then we basically took a steam train. They had steam trains at that time across Turkey. And I actually got a bit of soot in my eye, which probably scratched it because I've had eye examinations and they've seen that it's been scratched. But that's when it happened. We continued on through Turkey, went through Iraq, Iran was closed at the time, and we were stuck in Iraq, but you couldn't get out. You needed a visa to get out of the country, and we couldn't get on to the next stage.
So you went underneath.
So we were there for about 3 weeks, and we had to eventually got a boat along the Persian Gulf,
right,
and came into Pakistan. And Pakistan was it's wild. I mean, it's just people. You're surrounded by 50 kids all of the time harassing you.
Okay.
And then we went over into India.
Right, and then to Nepal.
Well, my friend wanted to see Nepal, and that was definitely a worth visit because that's where the hippie destination was.
Right.
And
this was just after the Beatles had travelled to India, and it was kind of a hip place to go.
It was mainly the dropout era, but I wasn't a dropout. I was just interested in the travel. And of course, in Istanbul, it's just like an oasis because accommodation was very cheap. They had pudding shops, you could get these beautiful cakes. And when you've been traveling for 3 or 4 months, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Small delights like that.
So tell us about how you got from Nepal to Thailand.
We ended up going through India to Calcutta, and then, of course, the next stage is Burma, as it was at the time, just down Myanmar. Yeah. I don't know whether...
That's a difficult border at the moment. Is it easy then?
I can't remember if it was or not, but we managed to get a flight from there to Bangkok with a stopover in Rangoon. Now, when you think we started with 300 English pounds, and we hadn't probably spent that much, but, it's... We managed to have the fare and we just did it.
Yeah.
So we reached the point of no return there. There was no going back to England. We had to get to Australia.
Right.
Or dying. And that's the first contact in Thailand, because when the plane landed in Bangkok, it would have been Don Mueang Airport at the time. That was the only airport.
So you flew from Calcutta?
From Calcutta.
Yes.
That's right. I remember the window of the plane blew out, had a crack in my seat, and that was pretty scary. So I'm just sitting there, and then all of a sudden the window cracked. It didn't, obviously didn't break, but it was a bit of an incident. The war in Vietnam was on at the time. I don't like to call it the Vietnam War, but I call it the war in Vietnam.
Right.
I remember the flight attendants just screaming with us to get off the plane as fast as we could. So I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm good. Hold on, one moment.
Oh, it's all right, mate.
Tiny.
Take your time.
Gonna see our kid up the baggies.
All right, mate.
See you in a bit. I'll be in. It's one moment, yeah?
Yeah, so from there, they say there must have been incidents where the planes have been attacked at the airport. Maybe there was been
and this was Don Mueang.
It would have been Don.
And for many years, if when you flew into Don Mueang, you used to fly on the left-hand side. The golf course was on the right.
Yeah, but I don't.
On the left-hand side, there was all these...
Not in 1971. There might not have been, but it'd be swamps probably.
Yeah, but fast forward a little bit to my time.
Yeah.
96, first time, landing at Don Mueang.
Yeah.
There was planes from the war in Vietnam era on the left-hand side. There was just discarded there. I mean, I know it's a military base.
I remember seeing planes, military planes in Bangkok when I looked out the window.
Yeah.
But also, it's interesting, the Korat was just back on Ratchasima. That was the base on which they launched the B-52 bombers to the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Yes.
And I believe the Americans built the road from there to Bangkok.
Yes.
As a service road to supply the military.
And of course, there was a lot of military ammunition and bombs dropped in Laos as well.
Oh, yeah. Well,
more bombs dropped in Laos than there was in Thailand.
I've read a book about it. You do get different numbers, but they're staggering, where you've got a B-52 load of bombs dropped on the country every 7 minutes, 24 hours a day for 7 years.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And if you ever go to Laos, you see ammunition cases, bomb cases. They use flower pots and building materials, and they melt them down, make spoons, cutlery out of
So,
them.
Alan, you've landed in Bangkok.
Yes.
It's 1971.
Yes.
Just paint us a picture of your experience in the first few hours.
I can't remember because it's 55 years ago, but
I'm sure you can.
We got from there to the central railway station, presumably hoping to get a train south, because we had no money to stay for very long. But by the time I doubt we took a taxi there. We might have probably hitchhiked there. But
And your plan was to take the train to Singapore, was it?
yes, that's right.
Okay.
If we could have gotten one.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Yeah.
And
So, I mean, what was Bangkok, the city, like? You know, looking out the window.
well, it's obviously not as developed as it is today. And but we had no money for a hotel, so like in a tradition, we just sleep on the street.
Yeah.
Find somewhere that's safe. And there's, of course, the weather's not a problem. It's not cold and it's not wet. And
Did you see any Western restaurants or anything Western that you'd recognise from back home?
I really can't recall.
Because I've seen some old photos of like KFC and stuff like that from the 1970s.
Definitely wouldn't have been any Western type. The fast food things, not a lot. No,
Okay.
No. It'll be just, the 30 baht equivalent Thai meals.
How did you find that as a culture shock? Obviously, you travel through India, you travel through Turkey, so you're used to eating the local food.
We did keep a diary at the time, and my friend, I've read his diary recently. I actually threw mine away at one stage for some reason. But when I read the entry when we landed in Bangkok, he just said, I can't get over how beautiful these Thai women are. He wrote that entry in
Some things never change.
in 1971. Right?
Yeah.
So that was his immediate impact.
Okay.
How stunningly beautiful the women were.
Right.
And, so you think thin bodies and long hair and Asian faces are very attractive to us, to people like Asian.
And at the time, you travelled with your friend. Was it just the two of you?
Yes.
But you're getting along okay, or was there, there was tension there?
No, there wasn't actually. There was tension when we got to Australia, but maybe it had been built up over the time. But no, we really worked together as a good team.
Okay.
Yeah. He was much more adventurous than me, and if it hadn't been for him, I would never have gone to Nepal.
Tell me a little bit about your first night sleeping in Bangkok, because you've told me the story already.
Well, I couldn't. We had no money for a hotel, so in tradition of what we usually do, sleeping where it's safe and comfortable and don't have to pay for it. We slept outside the main railway station in Bangkok.
Wow.
Right, it would be December. No, it wouldn't. I can't remember. It'd be around November 1971. When I woke up in the morning, I was covered from head to foot in mosquito bites, like I had measles or a disease.
Wow.
So luckily I didn't get malaria.
Yeah.
But
or dengue.
I was a spotty dick.
Yeah. How long was you in Bangkok for? Just
Not
one
long,
night?
because we had no money to stay. But interestingly, at that railway station, that was the first time I was ever propositioned by a Thai girl. The Thai girl, I couldn't speak English, I couldn't speak Thai, but she made the symbol with the hoe and the O finger and doing this. And I understood what she was
The
suggesting.
international language of love.
It was. But there you go. I've even got the date that it occurred.
Yeah.
In November 1971. So
and what was your reaction to that?
Well, we had no money, and so if we did that, we may not ever have gotten to Australia. Although probably it wouldn't have been that expensive at the time. Yeah.
Interesting stuff, man.
Yeah.
So eventually...
Continued on down to southern Thailand. It's interesting because I've just driven to Phuket on this trip, and I was just thinking, I must have gone down that same road in 71.
Was there a bridge over to Phuket then?
Yeah, so I didn't go to Phuket.
Or was it a ferry?
At
Okay.
that time, yeah.
Just I can't remember when the bridge was built.
Yeah, there's a bridge there now.
Yeah. So you managed to get to Malaysia?
We got to Malaysia, and that was fine. It was an Islamic country, but we didn't have any hassles. And I remember that I put my rucksack down on the ground, and the truck ran over it and broke the frame. So we had to spend some money getting it rewelded.
Wow. And in those days, people, made do with what they had. Really, I know, like
got a rucksack with a metal frame.
Yeah, it's very easy to get sentimental about the past.
Yeah.
Because people say it was a lot better, and I'm not necessarily sure that's true. But we just, not everyone now would just buy a new one, but you mended what you had, which was good.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and then down to Singapore, and then over to Indonesia.
No, not that problem, because in Singapore, at the time, they had hair requirements. Your hair had to be cut above the collar, and because of just the political thing, they didn't want decadent Western influences. Yes. So because
this is in Singapore.
Yes.
So
that would bar you entry from the country
if you had long hair.
If your hair was over your collar, so your hair is. We wouldn't have a problem today, would we?
certainly not me. So was that
Neither at all.
a health thing or just
It's
cultural?
just because it was the Western dropout era.
Right, they didn't want the low-class tourists.
No, they just didn't want that protest movement affecting Singapore. And if you had hair more than over your collar, you were a hippie, and
I have never heard that before.
Yeah. But when we've been on the road by that time for 4 or 5 months, our hair had grown quite long.
Yeah.
And of course, you had to get a haircut before you could get in the country. Spending a bit more money.
Yeah. Cool, man. So tell us the journey briefly from Singapore to
we had no
Australia.
money. Yeah, we did not have enough money for
flight.
My bank in England had a system called Call for. I was a Lloyd's Bank customer. Remember Lloyd's Bank?
The sign of the black horse.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Well, they were my bank in England, and they had a system where if you were in trouble overseas, you send a message, call for Lloyd, and they send you £300. And presumably you had that money in the account, but it might have been an insurance scheme where they sent the money and then you paid them back later with interest, But I used that system.
Okay.
Got £300 sent to Singapore.
and
that was enough to buy a ticket on a boat. There's actually a Russian merchant ship.
So they sail from Singapore to
Perth in Australia.
To Western Australia.
Yeah.
Because now it's very difficult to enter Australia by boat.
Yes.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
Even on the cruises.
I'm not sure if this is a common entry. There would have been for migrants.
For
£10 migrants dropped off by boat. In fact, my father was a merchant seaman.
Right.
And he used to drop the migrants off. And at that time, he said that they dropped the migrants off in Fremantle in Western Australia at Perth. And the migrants take a look around, saw the desert, and they started crying to get back on the ship. And they signed up for 2 years.
Roughly what month was this that you sailed from Singapore?
It was the 16th. I know the date of arrival. 16th of December, 1971.
So that would have been coming into, it's obviously the Southern Hemisphere, coming into a decent,
summer
like a decent journey on the sea.
The Indian Ocean was just unbelievable. I've got pictures, At that time, we had a camera, but you only had a 12 exposure roll of film. You had to be very careful what photographs you took. But I have one with my friend holding his stomach as the ship is dropping about 60 meters until it slows down and then rises up again. And it was just like a roller coaster ride, unbelievable. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's still the same, the Indian Ocean.
And rather than having an adverse reaction to Australia, you actually liked it.
The main thing about it really was the weather. And we were young. And so we couldn't get work. Well, interestingly, because England and Australia are very close, they had a reciprocal agreement where you could get the dole. So I was 18 at the time, old enough to get it. I just turned 19, and the rate for my dole was £6 a week, and we found accommodation. The accommodation was £1 a night, so the rent was £7 a week, and we got £6.
So you spent one night.
I was £1 short paying the rent, so we decided to buy some buckets and go around trying to clean windows, and we did that for a while.
Wow.
Then this American company offered to try and sell encyclopedias, and that was the biggest con of all. You had to sell 3 sets before you got any commission. So in the end, we decided we can't stay here. We got 2 choices: go north on the mines, get a job there, earn big money. But if we didn't get a job, we'd be in trouble because we were stuck at hand. Or go east to Melbourne and see if we can pick up a job there. So logically, we decided it's safer to go east to Melbourne.
Okay.
And that's what we did. So we hitchhiked across the Nullarbor Desert. Now, for those who don't know, the Nullarbor Desert is about a 3,000-kilometre trip. If you travel day and night non-stop, it would take you 3 days and 3 nights. And then 300 kilometres of the road was a dirt track. And the cars used to break their axles crossing it. The road wasn't even complete. And we hitchhiked across it.
Wow.
And some army guy picked us up. I've got a photograph of this car and his registration number, so I could track him down and find out who he is. I very much doubt he's still alive, but he wanted somebody to actually drive his car in shifts to keep going.
Okay.
And so we had no license for it.
Could you drive a car?
Yeah, I could drive.
But you had no license.
But we took turns driving.
Wow. So,
yeah.
briefly,
I had an English license,
yeah,
but not an international license.
briefly, the long story is, or short story is that you settled in Australia.
Yes, I did. Thing about that time in Melbourne, there was the jobs were so plentiful. Every factory had a sign outside. Workers needed. You could have a job, throw it in, and get one the next day. And there was a workers' paradise. The money was really good.
Okay.
And even I worked in a bakery. So first job in Melbourne, I got a job in the bakery because that's what I knew. But it was too hot, and the money wasn't that great. My friend got a job on the public transport.
Yeah.
And he was earning about 3 times what I was earning, so I ended up changing and joining it as well.
Okay.
I'm a bus driver.
And you got married?
Yeah, in the end I met a girl.
Yeah.
She was actually Irish, but she was living in Australia with her family.
Okay.
Originally a Manchester girl.
Okay.
But,
fascinating story.
yeah, and we ended up getting married, stayed together a long time. We actually had 4 daughters together.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't know that, did you? And
do you when you fly into Bangkok now, do you ever reminisce about that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Especially when I go to the railway station.
Have you been back to the UK?
Many times. Yeah, all my family is still there.
Okay.
But I'll just probably tell you how I got connected with Thailand, if you don't.
Yeah, sure.
How personal do you like? Well, when the marriage split up, that was sort of devastating for me because I lost everything in the car.
How long was you married for?
A long time, from 1975 to 1988.
No, I always say that there's a lot of you can lose financially in a marriage breakup, but it's actually the emotional investments as well.
Yeah, I do.
That is worth.
And losing contact with children.
Exactly. Yeah.
But at the same time, I've had a different life since then, which you never would have had if this hadn't have happened. So,
yeah.
But so how did I get involved with Thailand? Really, well, I suppose in 1991, so that's about 3 years later, there's the 20th anniversary of arriving in Australia.
Right.
And I thought it's time I went back to Perth and had a look around. So I went by train across the Nullarbor, got off at Kalgoorlie, stayed there a week. I don't know if you know that Kalgoorlie, there's a street there where they got like a brothel type, what they call...
I've never been to Australia, so...
There's girls that mining gold for the miners, mining their own type of gold.
I think I know where this story's going.
Anyway,
continue.
I met a Thai girl there, believe it or not, and we really sort of connected, and she was sort of taking me out during the day and buying me lunch and stuff, and how unusual is that? But I just liked their personality, and I just connected with her. So I went later back to Perth, and then when I came back to Melbourne, I stopped off in Kalgoorlie for another week and sort of spent time with her. But that was sort of an introduction to Thai culture, but at the time, of course, in the 90s, AIDS was pretty prominent.
Right.
And I thought, if I go to Thailand, I know I'm going to catch it. And so I wanted to go and stay, but I was just afraid of, it's going to be it's going to cost me my life. So basically, when I flew to England, I didn't really... I had the opportunity to come to Thailand and stay, but I didn't know I'd often fly Singapore Airlines or Philippines or Air Indonesia and whatever. But in 1997, I decided to come to Thailand. 1997. When did you say you came here?
96.
Okay, so around the same time. Yeah.
And of course, just before the Asian markets crashed.
Okay.
Yeah. 98. Yeah.
No, I didn't realise it at the time, but that was just the exchange rate was just phenomenal.
During the crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not for that very long. It was a few months.
No, but
a few weeks maybe even.
For like 100 baht was the equivalent of $3 Australian. Today.
Yeah.
But this is $5.
Yeah.
And so you were living like a king. Good hotels, entertainment.
Yeah.
You could go and buy drinks with the girls, and but it was just so cheap. You bought us loads of them, and the girls were happy because they were getting the drink. And the bar owner's happy because it's...
Yeah, but you know, it was you have to balance that.
Yeah, of course.
To be honest, Alan, with difficult times for the Thai people because they were very worried. A lot of them lost life savings and their homes and everything.
Yeah, well,
it was.
Yeah, that's true. I had a friend who's deceased now, but he's a very shrewd business person, if you like, an Italian guy. But he was able to buy 3 properties that were under a distressed sale.
Yeah.
He paid $10,000 per property, so he got 3 properties in Bangkok.
Yeah.
3 flats, apartments.
Wow.
For $30,000.
Yeah.
He rented 2 of them, kept one for himself when he's at Bangkok, and in no time he got his money back. So there's no cost at all, and he passed it over to his wife's name, but she's now passed away. But she's fairly comfortable. She's got income. Yeah.
So fast forward another 20, 30 years. What's your situation now?
Well, just continuing. It's just come to my mind. Have you got time?
Yeah, of course. Carry on.
Yeah. Where are we up to?
You came back in 1987.
Yeah, no. I took a hotel in Siam Road, and I didn't really understand Bangkok, and I knew Patpon existed, and as far as I knew, that was the only red light district in the entertainment district. But it was pretty wild back in the 90s. Right?
In Ceylon?
In Ceylon, yeah. I stayed at the Monarch Lee Gardens Hotel, which has been sold now. It's under another brand name. And that was pretty expensive. It was $100 a night. And I stayed there for 3 weeks.
Wow. Was that, so I remember 96, 97, 98. There's Patpong.
But it's still the same thing.
1 and 2, yeah.
Nana Plaza.
Nana was there.
Soy Cowboy.
Yeah.
Soy Cowboy probably was just beginning to be developed.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it is today.
Yeah.
But Patpong was the number 1. But it was also where you meet the bad girls too, like the ones who are going to rip you up. But, but
it's sometimes it's a lottery, the lottery of life.
True,
you can make some good people there as well.
My first night there, it was all the bars had closed, and I just decided to have a beer. And I was just sitting in the bar, and then sitting opposite there was this girl, and she smiled at me, and that smile was a killer smile, and that was it.
We know where this story's going as well, don't we?
Yeah. And strangely enough, her name was Walkow.
Walkow.
And what's the name of the street?
Sorry, Walkow. Yeah.
Can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just fell in love with her, and started to see her every night.
Good.
Whatever. And I'm not stupid enough just to, make a commitment or whatever, but I just knew that I liked this girl, and if you don't make an effort, you're never going to get her. So, but we had a great time together. But one time we were just sitting having a drink in an outside bar in Patpong, and at that time, believe it or not, there's 3 Patpongs.
There was 1, 2, and there was, I think, next to 3 there was
the third one
a Japanese.
Yeah, the third one has become Japanese.
The Japanese thing, I remember that.
You try and get in the bars, they'll throw you out.
I remember that well.
Until the economy's bad, and then they try and get you in. I think, you wouldn't let me in last time.
I remember trying to get in one of those bars on Patpong 3.
Yeah.
No, couldn't get in. Couldn't get in at all. And
a friend of mine told me
to be honest, the most beautiful girls were in there.
And a friend told me once that you really don't want to go there because of the prices the Japanese pay, you're not going to be able to match that. But anyway, Patpong 2 was closed off, believe it or not, and they had Thai dancing in the street, like on the stage. Yeah. And you're sitting there drinking beer and watching this and the music, and I was just enchanted by it. To me, it was just like I was in heaven, sitting there with a beautiful girl, listening to watching this beautiful dancing and whatever. And they had elephants going around Patpong at the time.
Baby elephants, smaller elephants, not a huge size.
Well, they were pretty big.
Yeah.
They were medium sized.
Yeah.
But they used to go under the 3 times underneath the figure.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. But and of course, trying to communicate with her when I'm back in Australia. She can't write English. We have to pay for translators.
So did the old airmail?
So I decided to learn the Thai language, try and learn it.
Okay.
So I enrolled in a course. There's a college in Melbourne had the Australian government was actually trying to promote Asian languages, and Thai was included, but the main one was Japanese and Chinese. Now they decided that they couldn't, and the cost was $2 per hour. And they had 6 hours per week. Now, that's unbelievably cheap because they were subsidizing it. Yeah. And what happened was they decided that Thai was going to be phased out. for all the students who had enrolled to continue the course till they finished. So if I wanted to join, I had to join second year. Now, I was dead keen on learning it, but when I went in the second year, you got the students speaking in Thai. They're writing Thai script on the board. And I think,
So they were way ahead of your level.
yeah, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty determined when I want to be. And I hung out there, caught up with the students, and actually graduated. It took
Hey, well done.
3-year course.
And you speak and read and write Thai then?
Well, yeah, I can, not fluently, but I can enough to get by.
I don't think Westerners will ever be fluent in
it's
the
difficult,
language.
but the main thing is, I think, really, is I don't get enough practice. My wife is Thai now,
Okay.
and she speaks more Lao, like her father's Laotian. But I know that last time I came here 2 years ago, my wife's sister would say, what did he say? And my wife would have to repeat it.
Yeah.
But this time she didn't. So that's a good thing. She understood me the first time.
Okay. Thank you so much for having a chat, man.
Yeah, okay.
Really, really kind.
Yeah.
And how's your trip going this time around?
It's been good. We hired the car. I ended up meeting a girl. We married. Noi. You met her last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
a nice lady.
Yeah, we've been together for 20 years.
Wow.
Married for 15. Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations, because we'll finish on a positive, Alan. You only ever hear the negatives about Thai-Western relationships.
Yeah.
Always.
But
and it's nice to hear something positive.
But I absolutely love the country, and and having good bars like your bar is a good place to come to, and meeting expats and things.
Good lad, he's a good lad. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
That's been an interesting half an hour, man.
And I think, like last night, how friendly the service staff are too. I love the Thai humour. Sometimes it's very direct and blunt, but it suits me. I like it.
Yeah.
They tell you the way it is. If you're fat, you're fat. Yeah. From Pui.
Yeah, I know. They are a little bit blunt like that. Alan, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
And don't forget, if you enjoyed the chat, we've got more of this sort of stuff. We do live streams. Become a member of the channel as well by pressing join.
Well, come on down to the Rum Runner off Soy House.
It's not wrong. Take care, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Yeah.